Now, I'm not going to sit here and complain because at the end of the day, I'm going to be here covering Canelo versus William Scull, just like many of you who don't like the idea of the fight or whatever it represents. Nonetheless, we're going to watch it. Canelo Álvarez is going to be going for undisputed a second time at 168 pounds to get his IBF title back from William Scull. William Scull won the belt back in, October of last year against Vladimir Shishkin in a nasty fight. I watched it. I covered it. Before this, I went into some research and watched several fights and clips of Mr. William Scull, and basically Canelo's going to knock him out. I don't know how. Maybe it's some type of, I don't know. I just don't see how he can win. 23-0 with 9 KOs, 32 from Cuba. And here's an even crazier story about William Scull that we found out last week during the buildup of Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. Listen to this shit right here. I'm T-Street Controversy with Fight View 360. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. We're going to be here covering this card. We're going to talk about the full card over the week as I'm going to be pumping out several videos. So I know I got to keep saying the same thing in my videos lately, but I'm working my way back up the YouTube rankings. The YouTube algorithm has pretty much kicked me back down to the bottom. Despite my 103,000 subscribers, I got to work my way back up because of my years of inactivity. But I've been feeling good, you know, getting back and covering boxing again. We're going to be at the Times Square event in New York. My colleague Donnell is there with his credentials. So we're getting back out into the field. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. But listen to this from Nigel Benn, the father of Conor Benn.
He was sparring with a guy that knocked out Munguía, Bruno. I can't remember his last name. Surace. Been sparring with him. Another light heavy. Conor was bullying him around. And then to put the cherry on top,
What's it is?
He started sparring with a guy called William Scull, an IBF champion, who's fighting a week after Conor. Coming there 12-handed. Shouldn't say it, but you know what? Because for the last 2 years, all I've been hearing negative. I'm going to tell you about my son. The first 4 rounds, him and Conor were even Stevens, and they were going, oh, perfecto every time he was hitting Conor. Conor was just walking him down. Then about round, I think 5, he was like, no, because Conor only has 40 seconds rest. And then what he was doing in between the middle of the rounds, he was sitting on the rope because he was tired. Then it came to round 5, 6, 7, started feeling the pace. This is William Scull, IBF champion.
Superstar.
And then after that, no, you can't shut me up, mate, because you ain't been where I've been.
I'm not trying to shut you up. I'm enjoying
But anyway, but then what happened, round 8 came.
Uh-oh.
And then, Tony, we looked at each other and we thought, he just quit. He just stopped. Couldn't take no more. After 8 rounds, I meant to be doing 10 rounds. And me and Tony looked at each other and think, what the friggin' hell just happened there? And I got my boy and I thought, my little boy. He just damaged the IBF world champion. And you know what it is? I am so confident this don't go past 4 rounds.
So, yeah, you know, that's not a good look. And listen, he told this story several times, Nigel Benn. He told it even on the broadcast of Eubank Conor Benn. So, you know, ain't looking good. But let's go ahead and face it. This is for a lead into Canelo to take on Terence Crawford in September. Canelo's supposed to beat William Scull, go on to be undisputed 2-time, fight Terence Crawford. You'll have a former 2-time undisputed against Canelo undisputed, 2 of the best fighters of our generation right now, facing each other possibly on Netflix in a big deal that's supposed to probably kick off the new venture of TKO, Dana White. It's some big news going on in boxing. If you don't know, I'll keep it short. The Saudis are buying up all the boxing. And if you want to fight one of their fighters, you got to go after them, go through them. I mean, look at Canelo. He bent the knee. Remember, at one point in time, Canelo was like, I don't care who's he. Basically, telling Turkey pretty much to fuck off. And I remember Turkey Al-Sheikh did an interview, was like, listen, he doesn't understand. And when I got from, he said the quote, he doesn't understand when it came to Canelo. And what I got from that is, looking at what's been going on, is for one, the Saudis got their hands in the pot with the WBC. As you can see, Riyadh season all over their website. They got their hands in the pot with the WBA. It's being rumored that they flat out purchased the WBA. We don't know. That's not confirmed, but it's been rumored. They are in with the IBF, and I don't know where they stand with the WBO. But as you can see, they purchased Ring Magazine from De La Hoya, and now, look, they got a huge influx of cash to where they're putting on events, boxing events, the Ring Magazine. They're the financiers of all of these Riyadh season events now. So one way or another, Canelo was going to have to bend the knee if he wanted to keep boxing, but take all that out of it. Canelo's going to be making a shitload of money. Who knows how much he's making for William Scull? I would love to know, but I will not be surprised if it's $50, $60 million, or if he got a $300 million four-fight deal or some shit like that. Because, when you're hearing guys like Alexander Usyk is making $40 million a fight now, that's pretty crazy. Rumors, of course. So let's go talk about the undercard. Remember, I'm going to be here covering this entire card. Well, the main fight's on the card. Where's the card at? Right here. So you got the rematch between Bruno Surace and Jaime Munguía. I covered that first fight, videos on the channel. We're going to be here covering that. I'm going to do a deep dive into that fight in another video after the press conference today. A fight that I'm really looking forward to, African Pride, Martin Bakole versus Efe Ajagba. That's going to be fun. Also, I want to see what type of shape Martin Bakole is going to come in, because he was getting a lot of heat, even though he was a late step in the last fight that he stepped in for. Badou Jack taking on Ron Rosecki. No, it's not Ron Rosecki anymore. It's Noel Mikaelian, because Ron Rosecki got hurt. And basically, it's a weird unification of the WBC titles there going on between those three fighters. Badou Jack was the champion in recess, now full champion again. Noel Mikaelian was the champion in recess, now full champion again, or interim champion. Ron Rosecki's the interim, or some more weird shit going on. Then the other two fights, to be very honest, I don't know too much about these fighters, even though I'm pretty sure I've seen a couple of them fight before. But either way, if you were to look at this overall as a pay-per-view card, let's give this a rating. Now, I gave Eubank Benn as a card a B. This is on a plus-minus scale. I gave it a B because the fights meant something. You had Chev Clark, Vidal Riley. That had some significance of who's going to get off the domestic level. Looks like Chev Clark's going to be on the domestic level for eternity. Liam Smith, Aaron McKenna. I told you that fight was going to be interesting. If I was a gambling man, I would have bet on Aaron McKenna. Aaron McKenna, it was more like a passing of the torch, or pretty much, I guess you could say he kind of sent Liam Smith into a bit of, we don't know if he's going to retire or not, or if he can compete at that level anymore. And then Lyndon Arthur, rubber match, third fight between Lyndon Arthur and Anthony Yarde, Lyndon Arthur. So I gave that a B. Now, Badou Jack, Mikaelian, for the cruiserweights, and the cruiserweight's a pretty barren, top-heavy division. This is a good fight for the cruiserweight. I'm sorry I got Rosicki up there, but this is the last image I can find on the card. It's a good, solid fight, and I want to see where Badou Jack is. The cruiserweight division right now has got some good fights, but they're only at the top. With guys like Jai Patai, Gilberto Ramirez. Jake Paul is even in the mix, believe it or not. He's fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. on May the 28th. Crazy. Was it May the 28th? Forgive me. Let me know the date. It's not May the 28th. That's too soon. I think it's like June or something. Anyway, Bakole versus Efe Ajagba. These are like the kind of the new blood-ish of the heavyweight division. They're like in the newer class, despite Bakole being older. It's hard to explain, but they're definitely in the mix. So if I was to rate just the four fights, including William Scull, let me see. The main event, though. Scull is out here getting put work on him by 147 pounders. And I understand sparring is sparring. You never know what the fighter's doing. Be fighting the night before. They probably was drinking or whatever the case may be. But still, you don't want nothing like that getting out. And Nigel Benn, even though he gave a disclaimer before that clip I showed you, he gave a disclaimer about, like, you know, he know you're not supposed to talk about sparring because whatever happens in sparring is supposed to stay in sparring. But he wanted to, you know, say that, so he knows better. He wasn't trying to be a dick, but at the end of the day, you know, that's something I'm glad that he shared. So, what would I rate this card? Is not a B plus because a B plus is too close to an A minus, and that's just an A. It's not a B plus. Okay, let's look at it this way. Bacoli versus F.A. Ajagba can lead its own card. Lead its own card. Would it be pay-per-view anywhere? Even the UK wouldn't put it on pay-per-view, but it would be to lead its own card. Munguía versus Surace. Hey, listen. If this was probably 3-4 years ago, they would have tried to pay-per-view this shit. Golden Boy. They would have, you know, so. And Canelo versus William Scull. Ah, shit. Is this a B minus? This might be a C plus. It's not. I can't in confidence and good conscience give this a B anymore. I'm going to give this card. Okay, Munguía. I'm sorry. We're going to move on. Give me a minute. Munguía Surace is a good fight. It's meaningful because nobody thought Surace would win, and he knocked the shit out of Munguia's dick into the dirt. So that right there is a meaningful fight. Bacoli versus Ajagba, that's a fun fight. Badou Jack versus Mikaelian, it's like, okay, that's a title that has meaning in the cruiserweight division. It's a meaningful fight for the overall cruiserweight division. And remember, after the press conference today, I'm going to give a preview on each of these individual fights, except Canelo Scull, because this is this video. So, okay, I'm going to settle on a C. A C is too close to a C minus, and it's too close to a D. I'm going to give it a C plus. I'm giving it a C plus. I'm giving it a C plus. But I don't feel confident in this C. A C. That's it. I'm settling on that, a C. So here's the deal. I'm kind of upset about this, but at the same time, it is what it is. It's going to be $89.99. That's normally how much Canelo fights cost if he were fighting in PBC or even Matchroom or another platform or whatever. But they're giving us these two cards for $89.99. In reality, you really can't beat that, given that Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero and that card alone, if it was any other promoter, it would be a $90, probably $100 pay-per-view. So the fact that we're getting both of these with 6, let's say, yeah, 7 meaningful fights. All right. And let me just off the top of my head, let me try to put it in perspective. The most meaningful fight of all of those fights to me, Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez, because if Devin Haney loses, he's cooked. Munguía Surace, Lopez Barboza, Ryan Roley, Ajagba, F.A., Jack, Mikaelian, and the least most meaningful fight, to be very honest, is Canelo Scull. It's just that Canelo's the main event, you know? Like, and I've rated those fights on, like, the importance of what they will mean if the A side loses, I guess. Because what if Teofimo loses to Barboza, you know? You never know what Teofimo's going to show up, and we're doing that video later on, too. So, listen, here's what we're going to do. As you can see, both pay-per-views are $60 a piece, and you can't buy them through your cable subscriber. I have Fios, and I checked, and I was like, damn, I hope I can buy this through my cable subscriber and put it on my cable bill. I hate having to lock my fights behind a paywall. I can't stand it. So let me tell you what I do. I record all of my fights, and sometimes, like, if you see me doing a post-fight video, I'll be recording it through Streamlabs and doing my post-fight video through OBS. So sometimes nerd talk. So sometimes it causes my computer to crash, whether if I purchase from my cable, I have a cable box specifically for my computer, and I use a capture card and I do it that way. But, you know, I just hate putting with the bandwidth and everything, it'd be fucking me up. But anyway, we're going to be here covering the card. Not happy with William Scull to hear that story that he's getting pushed to the limit by Benn. I'm expecting he's going to get knocked out. And if Canelo were to win, here's what I expect for Canelo if he wins. He'll be undisputed at 168. You got Caleb Plant and Charlo returning in separate cards at the end of May. In separate fights on the same card. They're going to fight each other before they even get a whiff of a shot at Canelo. I think that Canelo goes on to beat William Scull, goes on to fight Canelo, and Crawford, and I'm not sold he beats Crawford just yet. I'm not. I know smaller fighter, I'm just not. Crawford's that special of a fighter. It's either Crawford's going to, history, or Crawford's going to get the shit beat out of him. Especially not taking like a tune-up in between at the weight. Diego Pacheco and Mbali are creeping up on the title shot. So here's what I think is going to happen. Canelo's going to fight William Scull. Canelo's going to fight Crawford. Beats both of them. He fights either Chris Eubank Jr., Jake Paul, or Charlo Plant again. I think he just throws Bivol name around. I really don't think he wants that. However, I think he would fight Better Biev because Better Biev is 40 now. He's getting up there. And depending on how he looks in that third Bivol fight, I don't know. Canelo that type of fighter to me these days. And remember, y'all got to remember, I used to be Mexican for like 4 years. I used to be half black, half Irish, and half full-blooded Latino for like 4 years. So it's not like people be thinking just because now I'm just black now, or I'm just black, I don't identify as nothing else anymore. Because I just don't want to get mixed up with people and get deported, all that shit. But anyway, that's in anybody down there. But the point is, it's not a race thing. I'm not just like, the black god is just, people say, oh, he's just going to shit on the Mexican fighters. No, Vato. That's not how T Street gets down. Anyway, I'm T Street Controversy with 5U360. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Expect a lot of content from me this week. And yeah, follow me on Twitter at T Street Controversy. The links to all my social media right down below in the description box. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.